Hello, hello. We are live on the internet. Hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from. Thank you for being here. This is the UNO platform community stand-up. In particular, we're going to talk about our 6.5 release. I got two of my good friends here with me, Steve and Martin. How are you guys?
Hello. Good.
Hello.
Yeah. And our friends from the community are showing up here. I love Uno. I wish more devs knew about it. That's why we are here. Our good friend Thindel is here. Hello, Thindel. And yeah, Uno tooling is pretty insane. And, these are the engineers who actually build it. So I am, really pumped out today. So a lot of comments here. Hello, internet. Yeah, we're all here. Let's get rolling. So let me bring up my screen here. So let's get started here. Like I said, hello everyone and welcome. This is an UNO platform community stand-up. And let's talk about .NET. Let's talk about all things UNO platform. So we're talking about modern cross-platform .NET. We're going to talk a lot about design and AI tooling. Essentially, how can we developers elevate our productivity? In this age of AI, how can we get more done? How can tooling be smarter and helping out the platform and everything together to make us, developer rock stars, right? So let's get going. First up, a quick round of introductions here, and I'm going to start with you, Martin.
Yeah, hello. I'm Martin. I'm working on the core team of UNO platform. So I'm working on the core framework, APIs, non-UI APIs, basically everything that is baked in when you install the templates and create your blank new UNO platform application.
Yeah, awesome. And Steve.
Yeah, hello, Steve, engineer on the team. I focus mostly on, I guess, the outer tooling ecosystem, so toolkit themes, all those types of stuff, extensions and all that. So happy to be here.
Yeah, awesome. And I'm Sam, developer advocate on the team. I, ride on the shoulder of giants like Steve and Martin to talk about tooling and what we do. So these are some of our social handles if you need to reach out to us, during or after the webinar. And we are here to showcase a whole bunch of stuff. But we're going to just, set the stage for those of you who may not, know all the details about what UNO platform, does. So, first, 5-10 minutes, we'll just set the stage, and then we want to show you as many things as we can. Like, it's a community stand-up. Let's have fun. And, it's the magic of tech. I am in the US, Steve is in Canada, Martin is in Czech Republic, but we're all here together live. So thank you again for all of you, for being here. You are, taking an hour of your day to, come and hang out with us. So please use the time. Ask us any questions that's on your mind, any concerns, any fun things that you have going on. So please talk to us. So let's set the stage here. First thing is everything that you see here today, it's going to be all, riding on top of .NET. It's not your old school .NET anymore. This is, open source, cross-platform, goes everywhere. Tooling is great across, multiple OSs, and things are really nice. So on top of that, we have UNO platform. This is your, open source stack for you to build modern cross-platform .NET apps from a single shared code base of C# and XAML. You get to write an app that runs everywhere. You got iOS or Android for mobile. You got web browsers through WebAssembly, and Windows, Mac OS, and Linux for all of your desktop and embedded systems. So Martin, you work a lot on the core side of things. Tell us a little bit, quickly, what else makes up the stack?
Yeah, so UNO platform, as at its core, is a cross-platform application development framework for .NET applications. And the nice thing about it is it's not a UI framework only. It's a UI framework with many built-in controls, but also it supports many non-UI APIs that you can use to kind of talk to the operating system, to the device on which your application is running. So you, out of the box, you get a very powerful way to kind of build your application without ever having to learn any platform-specific code. And you just write your application once, and it runs everywhere without any changes needed. So that's the promise, that's the idea behind UNO platform, and that's what we have been building for many years now, and it's really getting there. and we are getting more and more APIs, more and more support, and more controls built into Uno platform for you to build your applications great.
Yeah, well said. So, I mean, it's way more than a framework. It is a full-on platform, because you look at some of the pieces that we have built in. It's the markup tooling. It's all of the SDK tooling and extensions and any third-party UI. All of it, choice of rendering mechanism. All of it is what makes up Uno platform today, and it's very rich. Always open source and very, very much AI ready, as you'll see. So, a couple of new things that we have been cooking in the 6.5 release. As we speak today, if you are using Uno platform, if you are on the older versions, please upgrade. That's that's how you're going to see the latest bits that we're going to showcase today. Let's talk about some of the pieces that are in 6.5 release. First up is Unicode support. This, I cannot emphasize how important this is, right? So your apps need to run everywhere, and you might have audiences all around the world. So we could all use more empathy, but accessibility, localization, this is just good for business. You want to support as many languages as you can. You want to, of course, support all the emojis that you can, right? So Unicode is a great way of doing that. It's, one consistent way of rendering and, not just, rendering the characters, but actually being able to manipulate the character positions and how you work through scripts that flow right to left. Like when you're in English or any other languages that come from Latin, you have a safety net. But when you look at some of the other languages in the world, things get a little complicated. You get, excuse me, multiple characters that combine into like ligatures. So Unicode support is the way to go. We have some WebView 2 enhancements. So for those of you who are building like hybrid apps, you want to, bring in some HTML, CSS, and JavaScript inside of your native mobile or desktop apps, we have you covered. Martin, what's the story with WASM?
Yeah, with WASM, we in this release did quite a nice improvement for the WebView 2 control, which by default previously wasn't able to display local content on your in your WebAssembly applications. Now with WebView 2, you can actually embed local HTML, JavaScript content inside of your WebAssembly application as iframe, basically. So that allows you to kind of embed smaller web application inside of your WebAssembly Uno platform application, or for example, some HTML help content or whatever you would need. You can embed it this way. And this feature, of course, needs to follow all the security considerations of the browser. But as long as you are careful about those, then you can display anything that you really need.
Yeah, awesome. And just with any other release, there is a lot of performance tuning. There is a lot of stability in the platform. We'll love to get back and showcase some of these in action. But let's talk about the elephant in the room, and that's AI. It's just changing how we live our lives and definitely having a big impact on how we build software. So much of it is automation. I read a great article and a meme the other day, like code is cheap, but software is not, because like we are the ones who can stitch things together. AI is very good at generating code, but context matters more than anything else. And how do you bring context? One of the best ways is Model Context Protocol, or MCP. And we have been looking at this and heavily investing in it. This is your way of bringing all the contextual expertise to your AI agents. So use whatever AI agents that you fancy, but bring the context. So it knows about your Uno platform app. It knows about our documentation and best design patterns. It knows about, while your app is running, all the interactivity bits. So you have more confidence in your AI agents. So you're going to see a lot of this and how we think about this. So the future clearly is contextual tools. It's agentic workflows, and to that end, this is the same Uno platform architectural diagram now with AI, right? So we have rethought some of the pieces. You still have the core pieces that are powering the UI and the platform and the cross-platform nature of things, but now it's much more open to working with any IDE on any OS and using any AI agent. We have built up two very, very sophisticated MCP servers that bring all the context. So AI, we like saying, has eyes and hands. So it can see your app, it can interact with your app, and it's grounded in our documentation. So, Uno platform is very much AI focused. And you can see in some of our MCP servers, the entire goal here is to empower developers and agents to work together hand in hand. So quicker dev loops, more confidence in what AI does for you. So speaking of MCP servers, these are the two that I mentioned. So we have an UNO platform MCP. This is how we, AI agents can do a search on your docs. When you search, ask any questions, don't leave your ID ever. It's all right there. So get grounded information about, fetching documentation and how the agents initialize themselves, design patterns and so on. And then we have app MCP. This is when, if you look at the rundown, it has all the, granular things that AI agents need. Like, how do I get runtime info? How do I take a screenshot? How do I click on a button? How do I type in some text? All of those things are now combined and available to your AI agents. So these two MCPs really light up a lot of flows, and we'll showcase some of that. So all of that together is what makes up our UNO Platform Studio. And I haven't gotten into some of these things yet, but Steve, you've been quiet, so let me toss it to you. What would you say is UNO Platform Studio?
Right. Well, Studio itself is basically a cloud of like productivity tools. So it's a whole suite of productivity tools, basically. So it's designed for improving developer productivity, but also things like design handoff. And we want to make the inner dev loop as quick and easy as possible, like using all of our tooling, right? So it comes with a whole bunch of stuff into it, but our hot reload with the our hot reload, our hot design capabilities that come with it, as well as the MCP tooling that is all coming with it as well, and then the hot design agent that lives sort of inside of hot design with you and sort of can do things for you as you're designing and as you're tweaking your applications and all that. And that's where the UNO MCP and the app MCP really come into play when you're dealing with agents and when you're dealing with all this. Like, any information is right at your fingertips, and it's right at the agent's fingertips, right? And it knows. So like, and we'll see in a bit, but like running an application, it's able to see while it's currently running the runtime info. Let me inspect the data context. Let me see this. Let me see what's going on. Okay, I got to enter text here. Let me re-inspect the data context, make sure the bindings worked. Like all this crazy stuff that it's able to do, and it's all empowered by these individual tools that we have inside this suite that we call UNO Platform Studio.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. And we'll, get into all of that. I'm just looking at the chat room here. Good to see some friends here. Hi, Brian. And there's love for hot design, and we'll jump into all of that and more. So let's actually get into it. So this is hot design that Steve mentioned. This is our next-gen runtime visual designer for .NET cross-platform apps. So, long are gone are the days where we had like a divide between design time and runtime. Now your app is running. You never pause it. You essentially keep the running app, and we are able to give you a design surface while your app is running. So that means real data, nothing fake, and we have some little bit of magic going on. So any changes that you make on the design surface get synced back into your code running in your IDE at all times. So hot reload works hand in hand with hot design to make you more productive. Now, with that running app and with that same canvas, you also have a custom-made AI agent. This is for you to build and iterate on your app UI, again, while your app is running. And you can, spin a few times. You might not like something that AI, builds for you. You could say, no, go back to the third one that you had. And then only once you're happy, you hit apply, and then we apply all the code changes. And again, that's just the start. You can still manually, edit your design, that AI has produced. So, a well-made AI agent ready for you. But if you want to use any AI agents that are inside of your IDE or command line, then that's where the MCP tools really, really shine. So a couple of brand new things in UNO Platform Studio. We have, rethought how people use hot design and what makes you more productive. So it launches in a different way. It's got a new, brand new toolbar and makes things really easy when you're navigating through complex UI. So I'll show you all of that, and then support for newer IDEs and all types of command line tools. So Antigravity, Cursor, Cloud Code, you name it, you can work it however you want. So a lot of good things happening. Let's get into it. Like, enough talk already, 10, 15 minutes in. Let's get into it. So I'm going to start things off and then hand things to Steve and Martin as we go. So let's go to my browser here. Let's open up a new window. All right, so this is platform.uno. This is where you'll start for all things Uno platform. It tells you exactly, what we are, how we do things. So start there, and then get to docs. This is where you can really get started on, what are the tools? How do I get started? Now take a look at this getting started experience here. We want to be agnostic. So it doesn't matter what OS you are on, what ID that you want to use, or which AI agent that you want to use. So bring your tools, come as you are. We got lots of documentation here to set you up exactly the way you want. But for almost all of them, like if I choose like Visual Studio or VS Code, for example, almost all of them is going to ask you to run this Uno check tool. This is our command line tool that just gets you set up. Because this is cross-platform dev, we do depend on some of the native things like iOS SDKs and Android and Windows and macOS to actually build you an app that is cross-platform and runs everywhere. So run that tool. It's going to get you all the dependencies, and up and running you go. All right, so you can, again, like I said, start anywhere. I'll show you a lot of the command line stuff in a bit, but let's start with the simple stuff first. So I'm on a Mac. I will show you Windows as well. I think like Steve and Martin are on Windows always. So again, it's a mixed bag and it doesn't matter. So let's open things up here. So first thing is, let's look at some platform and core specific things. I'm going to look at a very simple app here that showcases Unicode support. So this is a classic Uno platform solution. So it's a single project, just runs everywhere. You can see like VS Code immediately picks up and says, oh, these are all the places where your app can run. So let's just do desktop for now. Again, if you're new, everything is a single solution. You get a platforms folder where all of your platform-specific things can live, but ideally you want to do everything cross-platform. And then we have a global.json. This is essentially one file that controls or pins down the SDK version of Uno platform that you're using. This is how you upgrade. We have lots of documentation on that. So you can see I'm using 6.5, which is the latest bits. Now let's go to one of our main pages, like the only page that I have. This is a super complicated app. No, I'm kidding. It's just like literally 3 text boxes, but it shows you a few things. First up is you look at Unicode support. Whenever you look at languages like Mandarin or Japanese or Hindi or Arabic, which does right to left, things get a little bit more complicated. And emojis, you want them to render right? So let's run this app on desktop. How about that? So everything is live. It's going to pull down dependencies if it doesn't have any. Net10 desktop built, and out comes a desktop app. So nothing going on here, but you will notice, even in this simple app, that we got a few things running. First up, this is Unicode support. So it renders consistently on iOS, Android, Windows, macOS, WebAssembly, all the places. Now, just the fact that I got 2 text boxes here, just the fact that I gave it Arabic, it knows that I need to start from right to left. So you see the caret position, you see how it's going to move. This is Hindi, and I actually speak a little bit of that. So that says hello world or namaste dunya in all 3 different languages. Now notice as I move my cursor, it is not landing in between a character. You don't want that, right? So this is Unicode support, where it moves exactly. It knows where a character ends and where the new thing begins. And this is left to right. So Unicode support done, and no worries for you as a developer. All right, makes sense. So that's just a quick look. Now let's go back and look at some more changes that we had in Uno Platform 6.5 release. I'm going to go back to a very, very simple Hello World app again. We have lots and lots of samples here for you to look at. This one here is a super simple counter app, and it's doing MVVM. I see Brian in there. So C# XAML code bases, they work perfectly well with Prism or MVVM or any other design patterns. But modern developers are sometimes lured into MVU. So we have an MVUX pattern that also works very well. But this one here is an app where, let's go back to desktop because it runs the quickest. This one here is simply a counter application, right? So if I look at the global JSON here, you can see that I'm running this slightly older version. So let me still go ahead and run this and show you where things have evolved a little bit. So launching this on desktop, And again, all of this is open source, so you can look at the code that each of these apps are doing. So what you get here is a simple app that's just a counter app. And you can click on the counter, adjust the step size, and it does things. But up here is a floating toolbar that we had, and that's what got you into the design mode. So we have redone this a little bit, right? So let me see if this works. If I do a hot swap right as we are sharing. If not, I will new up a new application. But let's just change up the runtime here, or the SDK and the version of the tooling that you're using. And let's do a quick terminal build here. And let's do a .NET restore. So at this point, it should go and fetch the newest bits. And let's run this same app again. So we kind of did a hot swap. Let's see. And again, like between releases, you will have some changes, but this one is a super simple app. So no changes in here. But you do see a slightly different experience here. Now, this is the first time me running the same app with 6.5 bits. So we recognize that, and we're trying to get you a little bit set up, like show you the lay of the land. Like these are the couple of modes that you have in design, and welcome to Hot Design Agent, and then what all that you can do. Once you're comfortable, feel free to say, okay, I got it, and it's going to go away and not bother you anymore. So this is the desktop app, right? And up front, you see a couple of changes. First thing is, on the top here is a new toolbar. So at any point, if I don't want to work with design, I can hit the flame icon. And then all of the design tooling just goes away. This is your running app. The app never stops working, right? And then I can go back into Hot Design, and now I'm back with all of my design tooling. So up front is a few tools on the toolbar. I might want to see what my app looks like in light mode or dark mode, right? So that's nice. And sure, you can deploy your app to all the simulators and all the physical devices, but while you're in your dev loop, you just want to quickly see how your app is going to look like. So this is what the app looks like on a mobile form factor, on a slightly bigger, maybe a tablet form factor, desktop, or like a 4K monitor if you have one. And then if you really want to line up your UI perfectly, like pixel perfect, I can zoom really in, right? And then I can do an auto fit to make sure it fits the screen that I'm on. So a couple of nice things to have right out of the gate with the toolbar. Now, the other thing that it was trying to get you set up was show you all the different aspects of Hot Design. So let me walk you through that. So on the left here is your elements tree. So most apps will have a lot of things going on. This one is super simple. So you get to see the visual tree of what makes up your UI hierarchy. This is your toolbox here on the left. This is all the UI that you ever want to put in your app, right? So any custom user controls, third-party UI that you have, just drag and drop. It's all right there waiting for you. And if I go into interactive mode, you can see like I can interact with the app. I can increase the step size. I can do all the things on the app as my user would, because I'm literally interacting with it. Or I can now get into a design mode. A design mode is where I'm actually trying to change up my UI. So now I can actually click in, and it kind of shows me where I'm at. So let's just say I wanted that counter, and I can really zoom in. So now you can see the visual tree. It's saying, hey, you're in main page. You happen to be inside of a stack panel, or you're looking at a text block, right? So it kind of visually shows you which UI piece I'm looking at. And then on the right-hand side, I have all of my properties for that piece of UI. It's kind of nicely organized into smart tabs, which is most commonly used things for your UI. And as I'm speaking, like I'm not watching the chat as much. So Steve and Martin, let me know if there's something you want to talk about. And then I have all of my properties, which is all the things that I could use. So just a quick look at Hot Design and the changed experience. Now in here is also an agent, which I will show you in a different app, because this is meant for building, but I'm actually happy with how this app is. So let's minimize this here a little bit. So my app is running, and you can see like how my app is looking. But let's actually close this for a second. I want to show you a few more things. First up is let's pull up AI, because why not, right? So this is GitHub Copilot, because I'm in VS Code or Visual Studio. But again, this works no matter what with the chat agent. You can see like I have Claude Code in here. So one thing to note is if I go look at our docs, this is something you always want to have. So let's go down to our MCP docs. So we have, like I said, two big MCP servers. This one's MCP server for remote access, which means it knows how the AI agents can do a search for documentation. How do you fetch certain piece of content? How do I add this piece of UI? What are the properties? All those things should not be a guess anymore. The agent should always look into the docs for that, and best practices and guidance. And then we have the app MCP, which is really for interactivity pieces, like get me a screenshot, click on this, interact with my app while it's running. So how do you get access to all of this? It's all very well documented. For IDEs like Visual Studio, VS Code, there isn't much you have to do, because like we already see that it's a UNO platform app, so we'll wire up things for you. So if I hit this configuration thing here in GitHub Copilot, you can see now it notices that I have UNO platform tools. So that's my UNO app server and MCP server, and this is the UNO app MCP server. So all of those tools are now ready and accessible to my AI agent. So I can ask it things, right? Do you have access to UNO platform MCP tools, right? So let's just fire off a question to AI to see if it can. And it says, yeah, I got UNO MCP and app MCP, so I should be good. If you want, I can do more things. Now, the benefit here is, now this is a counter app written with MVVM. So what if I ask it, tell me about MVUX pattern with UNO platform apps, right? So at this point, like, yes, it can guess, but it should not, because we have a very specific pattern on how we implement this. So you can see, like, it's trying to do a doc search. Like, should I go and search on UNO platform docs? Absolutely. And you don't have to, wait for this every single time. You can approve it once. Now it's found something and it says, hey, I need to do an actual fetch. So once you allow this for the whole workstation or, your workspace, it won't keep bothering you. But this time around, I'm just showing you that it did a search and did a couple of docs fetches. And it's trying to analyze what it found. And it's trying to say, like, if you wanted to do, so here it says, I found some things. Here is MVUX. I see you need immutable stuff. Here's a comparison between MVVM and MVUX. If you want, I can help you convert this app from MVVM to MVUX, which I won't do because I know I have Steven here, Brian, and other folks in the chat room who are big fans of MVVM, but hear me out, MVUX actually works pretty darn well. Now, let me show you one more thing while I am on this app. So let's run this app again. And while it's up and running, we'll give it a second to come up. And it's trying to connect. And hot reload is connecting. So what I was trying to show you is once you have it up and running, your MCPs can actually interact with the app really, really well. So let's see if it's connected. Can you take a screenshot of the running app and tell me what you see? All right. So at this point, we are asking AI. We want to be a little bit hands-off. We're trying to say, hey, do you have tools that can work with that? So it's saying, hey, I'll capture it, and there it comes. Like the UNO apps get screenshot tools. So I'm going to allow that once. So it should, find the process ID, because we are already in an ID. In an ID, we have a little bit of dev server magic going on, so it knows which one it is. It actually did not do a build, so it's doing a fresh build, trying to get access to that handle that it can run the app. Build successfully, running app. Allow that. Okay, there it is. And now it's going to take a screenshot here. Get the screenshot. It actually launched like two apps because I had built it before. Allow that. Okay, it's getting a little confused because it has two different builds. So let's quit that for a second. Let's quit that, and we'll skip that. And let's see if it can do another one here. So it should do a fresh build and then connect up to the app that's running. We got so many things to show, so I'm trying to watch my time here. Yep, you can do all of that. Allow that. So it's trying to get a visual screenshot of things and how I launch. Okay, it is getting confused because it's got too many processes going. So we'll come back to this in a different instance, and it's now trying to just read the code, which is not exactly what I wanted, but I'll show you more of that in just a second. So we looked at hot design, we looked at Unicode. Let's look at a little bit of the web view stuff before I let Steve talk about more AI things, and Martin has cool things like Doom working on Uno platform. So we'll look at that in a second, but let's look at some more core things first. So let's look at some of the updates we did with WebView 2. So this is a super simple app here. So this is an Uno platform app. And if I look at my CS proj here, this Uno features, this is exactly what we configure as you come through the templates. Like you give us all the things, like you want MVVM, you want Skia, you want all types of things, features, and we just add those in a list, and up and running your app goes. It's just a list of features that you want. So in here is a web view. So what I have done here is a very simple UI that is just web view powered, and I have this in a scroll viewer, and I just have the web view 2 going. And essentially, when this app launches, I'm pointing it to a URL, like the simplest of things. So let's go run this again on desktop. And let's fire this up. So if you give it like an infinite bound, which is what a scroll viewer is, you will not know that this is actually a website, because like it got the scroll viewer. You can scroll infinitely, and if your web app does responsiveness, then you'll get the hamburger menu and so on. So any type of external content, you can just point to it, and the WebView 2 is very capable. And this is actually a smart abstraction, so it will recognize which OS that you are on and give you the corresponding web view for that. But that's kind of a very kind of almost a nasty hack. So let's actually deal with some real local web content. So now I'm changing it up to having a stack panel. I have a web view, and I have a simple text block here, which I'll show you why I'm using it. So let's turn this off, and I'm going to open up a whole bunch of code here, which is all actually in the docs. So let's turn that on. And what we're trying to do here is render some local HTML. It could be a local HTML file or CSS, or you could just add it inline like I have. So it doesn't even need to be the full DOM. So I'm just rendering a div tag, and I want that background color to be blue. In the div tag is a couple of H elements, but I'm executing some JavaScript here just for the kicks. So here is old school, like jQuery style. Get me the document element ID. That's called my div, and I want you to change that background color to red. Now let's run some JavaScript. 1 + 1. Tell us what it is. Let's actually invoke a function called this function post web view message, and we're going to invoke that function from JavaScript. Say hello world from JavaScript, and when JavaScript runs, we want it to invoke C# back in the host container, and I want to show that response back in C# code, which is a native control. So let's run this now. And you should see a couple of things where it tries to render local HTML. And up and running here is my desktop application. You can see my div tag went from blue to red. That's 1 + 1. And down here is hello world from JavaScript. So a little bit of C# and JavaScript communication going on here. So what this does is it opens up any type of static HTML content that you have. Think Blazor, think Angular, React. You can flatten it all out. When it's ready for static hosting, you can just drop those files in here, and it'll render all types of web content happily, right? So that's a quick look at web view. Where are we at time? 30 minutes in. Martin, do you want to show what you have cooking?
Sure. Just a quick fun intermission between the hardcore coding. So
let's do that.
I will just show.
I see your screen. Let's bring that up.
You should see. Yeah, you should see my screen. Hopefully.
No, hold on. It's still sharing mine. So I'm going to bring down mine and then add yours. There you go.
Okay. Good. So just a fun little experiment that I did during holidays was bringing Doom to Uno platform, because it has to run Doom. Otherwise, it is not an actual framework, right? So that's what I did. I took the managed Doom variant, which is kind of C# ported version of Doom, and brought it over to Uno platform. There is a complicated lineage of this project, because it started from the Linux port of Doom. Then there was a old Xamarin Forms port, then Maui port, and then based on that work, all became this Uno Doom version. This article on my website, you can find it and read it through. Kind of talks about how it came to be. The cool thing though is that you can try it out in your browser, and I will just actually I have it open here. You can. I've died apparently, but this variant of Doom actually runs in the browser because it's WebAssembly based, and you can really play it, with your keyboard, with your mouse, and it's all built with the built-in support that Uno platform has. So you can play with keyboard, you can play with mouse, you can play with touch controls. So if I had a touch device, I could play this way, and you can even play using game controllers. So you can connect your Xbox controller, you can connect your PlayStation controller and play this way. So this is kind of a showcase of how far you can take that promise of getting applications to run everywhere. Because with Uno platform, you can really play even Doom on the browser. You can deploy this same assembly on, or not the same assembly, but the same code base to Android as a native application, play it there. You can deploy it on iOS. You can play it on macOS. You can play it on Linux, everywhere. This is just a fun example of how far you can take Uno platform.
Yeah, well said. I mean, is it even real if it doesn't run Doom, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Actually,
good stuff in here.
fun fact is that Uno platform is now on the website canitrundoom.org. You can. There is an actual website about this where people kind of post their successes of running Doom on various different devices. So there is Uno Doom somewhere there in the history. I'm not sure where, but it is posted already and it is public there.
Awesome stuff. All right, let's switch gears. We are already 37 minutes in. There's a lot to talk about. So I will reshare my screen one more time here. Let's do that.
Oh, there were some questions in the chat.
Yeah, go ahead.
I
take
think
something
there
really
was
quick.
a question on whether you can connect your Uno platform application to a database. The question is, like, you can. There are multiple ways. You can connect to a local database that's running on the device. So that's SQLite or LightDB. Both are supported. Or there are some alternative open source databases that you can use. Or you can you can build some API and then talk to that API, which talks to a cloud-based database, for example. So both options are possible, and I have been able to run, for example, SQLite on all platforms that we support. So it's something that's definitely working, and you can do it.
Yeah, awesome stuff. All right, let's switch gears to some more things that we have been cooking, just to kind of get you inspired with all the flexibility that you have. So let's go back to the docs here one more time. Take a look at all the getting started guides. So you can literally choose any of these, right? So not all of them are full-blown IDEs, and that's maybe is a different norm of the game. But let's stick to another IDE. So no matter what be the IDE these days, everything just works. So let's look at Antigravity. This is relatively new from Google, makers of the latest AI models. This is a very IDE or AI first IDE, and it's gotten things where it can control multiple agents all at the same time. It's very much like agentic workflow first. It's AI at its core. It's got like a cross-surface agent, so multiple agents can reply back with what they're doing. It's really nice. Like, it's a very agent-first experience. So try this out. It's still relatively new, but just to kind of showcase that it doesn't take anything to wire things up in a new IDE, because the core technologies that we're using, MCP, that's a standard from Anthropic, Google, Microsoft. Everyone is working on it. So here is Antigravity. Right, so I have the IDE here. Let me open up a project here, which is an Uno platform solution. So you can see that it starts thinking for a second. It's asking me to update, which I don't need to. But here is a full-on Uno platform project, exactly what we saw in Visual Studio or VS Code. But in there, we actually have some documentation, so you can go look if you want. Let's say if I wanted to start with Antigravity, again, run the same Uno check, and here we say, hey, grab that in a little bit of configuration. That's going to point Antigravity to our MCPs. So I have that in my MCP config right here. So it's pointing to the Uno MCP and the Uno app MCP, and it's saying, hey, this is a .NET, so run DNX commands if you need to get all the bits, and then Uno Antigravity picks it up. So this is a list of all the MCP servers that Antigravity has in its own. So you can see the same. I can do a docs search, or I can do a docs fetch. I can initialize the agents. It shows you some of the system prompts in here as well. And here is Uno app MCP. This is the interactivity piece that is really nice. So again, like I have all of my AI tools right here, and I can of course run this app. But let me see if Sonnet is up and running and waiting. So let's ask again, do you have access to Uno platform MCP? If I can type tools, right? So we'll let Sonnet think for a second. Like, Sonnet takes a little bit of time, but it's actually more dependable, I find. So you can see what it's coming back. It says, hey, for Uno MCP, I have these 4 or 5 tools. And for app MCP, I have these, dozen tools where I can do more things. So, sure, I can launch this app anywhere I want, but what if I asked AI to do it? So can you launch this app on desktop using, now I see that Uno app start, so that's a nice MCP way to start up my app. Uno, let's do an app start and see what it does. So essentially we are pointing it to an MCP tool to say, hey, can you run this app for me? So it found the project, it found the CS proj, and it's trying to figure out how do I do a build. And you can see like it's starting up the app here, connected yet. So it's thinking, oh, that's build failed because it's a net 9 build. That seems old. So I'll have to change up the runtime, but it actually did fire it up even on an older runtime. But so here is the Uno platform app running on Antigravity, and I asked it to do that thing, and it did. So it's just got the older runtime, but it can figure it out, and it was able to launch it. So now that I have the running app, can you take a screenshot of the running app? So essentially the MCP tool needs that process to be able to do that. So it found the screenshot tool and it says, hey, here's what I see. And if you look at the details here, so it did actually invoke that screenshot tool, and there's the screenshot of the running app, right? So again, AI at this point is very good at clicking on things, taking screenshots. And where this matters is for you to iterate on AI. And this is the same experience on Cursor, any other code editor that you have of choice, because here's where it matters. So let me close this down for a second. I'll show you where this really matters. So let's go back to VS Code here, and let's close down this folder, and let's show you one more thing here. I'm looking at the time here. Steve, I promise I will give you time to talk about skills and all types of fun things that you've been cooking. Let's look at a simple app here where I have done 0 coding. Because I don't want to. I know, yes, it's XAML and C# that I can write well, but I would rather have AI take a first stab. So here is me trying to work with GitHub Copilot. This was, Sonnet. I said, can you build me a Tetris game? Because it's a classic, right? So gameplay should be automatic with a start-stop button. So it gets to work, and it's grounded in our docs. And once it's up and running, it can take screenshots. It looks at the runtime info, looks at the default action as it's running. And once it runs on its own, then I asked it to, hey, can you actually now add some gaming control? So you had autoplay, now let me play with my keyboard, right? So for any of this to work, it actually has to use those MCP tools to actually make sense of what it is building, and for me to have some confidence in what it's building. So this would take me weeks to build by hand, but here is a quick game of Tetris, where the game logic and everything else has been wired up, and it's automatically running. So let's see, and you can see the logic here. So it actually had to do a whole bunch of key presses and screenshots trying to see what it's building and verifying. So it's one thing to say, hey, AI, go build it. It's a very different thing to actually have AI verify what it's building. So you're asking the agents to loop until something is done. So you can kind of see this with Cloud Code and Ralph, Wiggum loops, where you have a set of exit criteria, and you say, your work as an AI agent. Let's go and start this while we're watching and talking. So your work as an AI agent is to do this, and don't stop until you hit all of my exit criteria. So your success kind of depends on that exit criteria. As long as that those conditions are not met, AI loops can keep on going. And you can see like GitHub Copilot starting to do this with autopilot and so on. So things are really coming along. So this is a full game of Tetris without writing any code. And again, it's just the power of some of these MCP tools where it can press on buttons, it can click on things as it's going along. Now, let me show one last thing, Steve, I promise, and then I'll stop. And then this might be, slightly not for everyone, but hear me out. All of these things that we are asking you to get started with, not all of them are full-on IDEs, and maybe that's a change in our mindset. You look at something like Codex, or you look at something like Claude Code. Claude Code does have an IDE, but Claude Code also works in Visual Studio Code or Visual Studio, but most of it is command line first. So this goes back into like pop culture. Anytime you see people being portrayed as hackers or developers in movies, they show command line because it's it appeals to your inner geekiness and nerdiness. And sure, we can run IDEs all day long, but it's expensive to run a GUI. So when you hear people like, I went to bed and I have 10 agents working for me, they're doing command line, right? So if we can bypass the IDE, it actually gives you freedom to do a lot more because it's faster in your terminal at times. So let me show you this in my terminal here. I am, let's actually go into my coding folder, and I had a folder called Uno Codex. And this one actually has a Uno platform app built in. So in here, I'm showing you, Codex, but it's the same experience. Oh, Codex wants to update. We can skip that for now. Same experience with Claude Code or anything else. Now, since it is an Uno platform app, you can see like it's starting to launch the MCPs. It realized that it needs to wire up some things. It has some things, and there's documentation in here. So one simple config or, pointed to the MCP servers, and it's up and running. So what you can see is you can look at my models. It's using GPT 5.3. That's actually really nice. Compared to 5.2. And then I can also do an WAC MCP. And at this case, it says, these are the two MCP tools that I have. So at any point, I can ask it to look at a coding file. I can ask it to explain what the solution is. But for the most part, it can run autonomously, right? So let's see if you, same question. Do you have access to Uno platform MCP tools, which surely it would, because it just said it did. Sets things for a second and says, yep, I see docs, I see search, which is great. So now let's see, let's launch this app on desktop using Uno App Store. So at this point, it actually has to do a build and figure it out, and then hand over the MCP to actually launch the process. And it's inspecting, and it might take a while to actually do the build, but we'll see how quickly it does, and then I will hand it off to Steve. But let's give it a second to come back up if it can. If not, I'll come back, and not to have you folks just watch a build, but I'll come back to what's possible with purely command line. So Steve, you've been working with some really cool AI things. Do you want to showcase what you have going on?
Yeah, sure.
So let's bring down my screen for a second, and let's bring up yours. All right, you're up.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so basically I wanted, some of the stuff will be, we're using our apps and MCPs and all that. I'm in VS Code just because I still can't get away from, I need to see the code. I need to see it being generated. I need to see what's going on. So I still have it here, my little app here. But basically, this app right here is just the recommended template. So if you just build from the preset recommended template for an Uno app, you have this application for main page. It's basically, wait, why can't I zoom? Oh, okay, whatever. So my text box, you just enter a text box, it passes it to the second page, and it displays that name on the second page. Not too fancy. But the cool things I wanted to show was basically this is just a straight up like .NET new Uno app for preset recommended template. And out of the box, we can have the tools like you had shown before. So out of the box, both the MCP and the app MCP are ready for me to go. And so basically, I sprinkled in some little errors and issues in this in this app, and I just wanted to see, without trying to infer too much, like talk to the agent, but don't tell it how to do things. Don't tell it what to use. Just tell it what you want, and it can figure it out from the stuff that it has available in its context, right? So I'm going to do it from I pre-recorded the video just because I don't want you to watch me watch the agent think for 30 seconds before it does something, so I can fast forward. And I do apologize. I recorded it in dark mode, and I realized dark mode doesn't present well on streams, but it's okay. So can I zoom in here? Yes, I can. Okay, good. So we can start. So start. So out of the box, yeah, I'm just showing that we have our app MCP tooling all there. I'll put in the prompt. That's going to be this. So all I'm telling it is basically test the app functionality and fix any issues you find. That's it. I'm not telling it to do anything else. And one thing I forgot to mention was the coolest. Oh no, actually, we'll see it in action. So we'll continue. Can I continue? Yes. And so we're going to speed it up in a second, but I just want you to see one thing that it does. So it's going to, okay, understanding what I do. Okay, let's explore the app structure, blah, blah, blah. It's going to read a little bit of the app itself. So it's actually, before it even gets to running the app, seeing it, it's going to look at the app. It's going to look at the data that the app has, and it's going to understand, okay, this is how the app works. So I have this binding here, and I have this here. There's a navigation framework that comes into play, and I'm going to do all this investigation to the app. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to build it. So it builds it for the desktop, checks the output, sees it's good. Okay. Let me load the MCP tools for app interaction, like it just mentioned there, right? So it knows that it's available, and it's going to start running, and it's going to test the app. And as we go, there we go. We see it using those tools that we saw before. So we know app start, and it's going to start basically interacting with the app based on the data context and what it's seeing via visual. So there's the app. That's the app that's running. I just brought it into the screen. And so it takes a screenshot. It says, okay. And it even says certain things like this. So I could see that the title is this. On my navigation bar, I see there's an enter your name, and there's a go to second page. Let me test the navigation flow. I'll type a name and navigate to the second page, right? So it does its thing. So it does a pointer click tool call. So it does a type text tool call, takes a screenshot, make sure that the text is there, and boom, it goes to the second page and nothing's there, right? So it sees immediately something's wrong. So I could see an issue. So second page navigated successfully. Second page has a background. However, the name John is not displayed. And so previously I had skipped it a little bit, but it's able to analyze the page, and it saw that the binding was wrong. And it says, let me prove my theory and run the app and see if this is actually not going to work at runtime, right? Oh, go. And so I can see second page is not displayed, blah, blah, blah. It'll go in, and we'll speed it up. It takes some screenshots. It goes back, it navigates back, make sure navigating back works. Takes some more screenshots, and it will clear and close the app, and it'll try and implement the fix, right? So it goes here, and it'll actually go, and it will go to the second page, and it'll recognize the binding has to be entity from our MVUX model. And so it changes the binding, and it restarts the app, and it runs, right? So there's not too much left. It just kind of goes in, and we see that John is here. And so one of the cool things that actually got this to work very nicely, if I can get out of this video, one of the cool things is the fact that I had two, that the MCP tools were running on itself, but I had these two skills that I had loaded up into my IDE for this app, right? And so this is just basically a way to have the agent effectively use the MCP tooling in order to actually perform this UI testing, perform this diagnosis, perform this assertions and verifications on the application that's running itself, right? So agent skills are a really, really cool thing that we're looking into, and we'll be developing more into. These are just two skills that I just generated on my own yesterday. And you can think of skills basically as the glue for an agent and its MCP tooling, right? So the skill should be quick, small context window pieces of information that instruct the agent on how to effectively use its MCP tooling to do what it needs to do, right? So if we go down in the list, we can look at things like, so prerequisites. So this is a UI testing agent skills. This is basically saying you are in charge of testing the UI of an application. You should know how to validate visual input. You should know how to inspect UI elements. You should know how to launch apps. And this is how you do all those things. So the first thing you should do is you should have the app MCP server successfully configured. Then you should use this tool. Then you should use this tool to get the runtime information to verify the app is running. Your next step is this. Your next step is get the visual tree, interact with elements, validate the results, blah, 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 and then close the app, right? And so it breaks down all the tools, what each one is there for, and it basically is giving it to the agent, right? So a lot of the times without this, the agent may not necessarily be aware that there's an MCP tool in its tool belt that can do what it needs to do, or it doesn't know how to effectively use that MCP tool. And so this sort of hints it along the way, right? And so there's more to it. It just sort of break down some stuff. This is how you can, these are the parameters for each tool call, blah, blah, blah. And so the second skill that I thought was really cool that it was able to create was the test assertion. So this comes along with the other skill. It says, hey, when you're using the UI testing, use this other skill to actually assert the things that you're trying to test for and check, right? So you should do assertion in different ways. You should do it via, I can't zoom, I don't know why. You should do it via visual assertions. So use the get screenshot tool, check the images, check the this, but you should also do visual structural, visual tree assertions, right? So actually take a snapshot of the real visual tree of the actual UI of the application, look for the automation IDs, look for the X names, look for all that, and verify that these properties are here, that it's the proper way. And the last way you should do assertions is data assertions, right? So you also have a tool available to you to inspect the current data context of the page that you're on or for whatever scope you're in. So go there and make sure that the proper data is flowing to what you're actually asserting and making sure that it's the visual ones match up with the data that's behind it, right? So this is crazy. Like, this is super cool. And these are just two tools that just basically, again, steer the agent to effectively use our MCP tooling, right? And so this will evolve as we go. We'll have lots more agents you can imagine. Lots more skills you can imagine. So how to do every single part of MBUX and things like that. So it could be like, how do I effectively navigate between two pages and get a result using navigation extensions, right? So it'll tell the agent, okay, this specific page in the docs, using your docs MCP, use your docs MCP tooling to grab that information, learn, and then do it. So you don't actually have to put all that information in the skill itself. So you don't want to make the context window blow up for no reason, but you could just tell it where to get the specific information using its tools to actually learn, how to do certain things, right? So that was just a cool little thing. I'd done it as well as I created a custom agent, but I didn't really use it. I didn't really need to use it, but basically, I made this role as its UI expert, and then I gave it these skills, but I didn't even need to use it. I just put these skills in the in here, and was able to pick them up right away when I started the normal Claude Copilot agent. So yeah, it was very nice.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So I got 2 more minutes left. So let me close things out here. So Steve, if I can take back control from you one last time. All right. So a couple of things to point out. So in line with what Steve just showed off, if you check out our blogs, we write up a whole bunch of content. This is our good friend Matt talking about app MCP and Uno MCPs, when to use what. And then on this topic, we had like Ralph Wiggum to talk about how you can run things in a loop. Let me go to the next one here, because I was trying to show you a skills versus MCP tooling. So here's an app. So think about or an article rather, your MCP tools are essentially the raw ingredients with which the AI agent is going to get to work, and skills are like the recipe cards. So use them in conjunction together. You can also think about like sub agents. It's all about what else can you do to make your AI agents more, productive. So again, anything that goes in the pantry probably should be an MCP tool. Anything that you stick to the fridge should be a skill. So lots to get inspired from there. Now let me go back to one last thing before I stop. So this was my codex, and it did actually start. And again, I saw some chatter and like, you don't want to see just command line. You don't have to, because you can actually pull up your ID at any time and see what AI agents are doing. But I asked it to build me a dashboard, like an in-car dashboard, kind of like a Tesla or a Kia. And all of this is done without an IDE, just purely on command line. So on the left-hand side, you see a little bit of the traffic moving back and forth or overtaking. The right-hand side is like a maps with some overlay, and it's got some controls. And the point is, like, even with this, like, you do have some control. You can see how it launched the app. You can see like it's getting the runtime info, and if it's been sitting here for 2 minutes. So let's see if it's still connected. Let's see. Please click on the seat button, and let's see if it does, and if it's still connected, because it was there's taking a snapshot, and it did actually call the default action, right? So what you see here on the app is, without me looking at an IDE or interacting with the app, it did click on that seat button, right? And this is a static image. It actually doesn't recline your seat or do anything, but this is an example of app interactivity. So from my CLI, I can automate things. So think about CI/CD. I can click on things. I can paste things in my running app. So it just is a different way of thinking about things, right? So this is AI, and we want to leave you with a little bit more inspiration here. So if you start on the website, and if you scroll down here a little bit, we have a whole gallery of things that we have been building up with AI. And our friend Matt, who's here, just take a look at the types of things we have been building up. Winamp classic players, enterprise dashboards, weather apps, matrix apps. All of this is absolutely gorgeous UI with lots of animations that will take any XAML C# person weeks to build, done within a few hours with just the right type of guardrails for AI to be productive. So I am at time here, so we're going to stop, and hopefully what you can see here is we are leaving you with some inspiration that Uno platform is now very much embracing of all types of AI tooling. We started with design. That's kind of deterministic. You do things manually, but very quickly you can evolve into AI doing things for you. And we won't stop. We'll keep on churning out more tools to make you productive. But hopefully you see you have all the ammunition to go build some amazing stuff. So let's go change the world. Thank you so much for hanging out with us for an hour. This was a quick look at our 6.5 release within our platform. We're already working on the next one, and we got some really big things cooking that should come out in a month or so. But keep an eye out. Everything is at platform.uno. That's our GitHub repo, and we are big into Discord. So come and talk to us anywhere you are on the socials. We are always here to help. So Martin and Steve, I want to thank you for your time. I know you guys are super busy on the next thing, but thanks for coming out and showing off some cool things.
Thank you for hosting it.
And everyone in the chat room, Thindel and MCNets and Brian and everybody else, thanks for hanging out with us, and appreciate your questions. Come and talk to us anytime on Discord. But otherwise, we hope that you have a great rest of your day. Have fun building cross-platform .NET apps with Uno platform, hopefully. And we are here to make you more productive. So that's it from us. We'll see you on the next release, next webinar, next video, next thing. All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye.